Okay, guys, welcome to a long-awaited Mamemeister and Chums talk Pish. Now, I did actually post on my Facebook page to see I've got a special guest. Now, unfortunately, he couldn't make it, so I've got my mate Tony. Welcome, Tony. How's it going, mate? Touche. Yeah, how the hell are you, mate?
I'm all right, Al. Thanks for having me back.
Good.
Doesn't seem like 5 minutes ago we were talking about Missile Command
Aye.
and world records and stuff. So yeah,
When was that? That must have been was it a couple of years ago, or is it as much as that?
I've got in my head it was last year.
Was it really? Might have been. You know what? I've been actually making YouTube videos now for 3.5 years, and it really doesn't seem like it. But it's funny. The truest thing your parents will ever say to you is the older you get, the quicker time goes, and it's absolutely true.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
I'll be 50 next month. Not next month, October. And I'm thinking I've probably got maybe another 10 good years left. That's depressing, isn't it?
Isn't it? So what are we doing? Sitting here talking.
And then after that, all I've got to look forward to is pushing myself. That's probably about the size of it. But
Yeah, as long as you got a headset and a webcam, Al, you'll be all right.
as long as my hand can still keep moving anyway. So, how do you pronounce it? Polybius?
Yeah.
Paul Bias? How would you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Polybius.
Polybius. I think.
Polybius. Oh, I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
Polybius. What do you make it? What do you? To anybody that's not doesn't know what Polybius is, it's the latest Lamasoft game from Jeff Minter and Giles. I think it's been on the go for about a year and a half. Did you get a shot of it on the VR thing at all?
No, I didn't. I suppose quite new. Well, I say new, relatively new to the whole Jeff Minter software experience, and I probably started with Jeff's sort of light synth shooty anthology with Tempest 2000 on the Jag. And got a new one, which was Tempest 3000, I think.
I think it was. I've never. Have you got a new one, by the way, Tony? No.
I did. I
Aye.
sadly sold it, and now, of course, I'm wishing I kept it because I quite fancy a game of.
You don't really see them coming up very often in eBay either, do you?
No, you don't. No, no.
The thing is, was a bar Tempest 2000 or 3000? Was there any other reason to actually own it, unless you wanted to play CDs or DVDs in it? Oh, it was a CD player, wasn't it? It wasn't a DVD player, was it?
Yeah, it was a DVD.
Oh, it was a DVD player. Aye.
Supposedly the platform allowed for extra features on standard DVDs,
Oh,
like
right.
zooming and all that kind of thing. But
Aye.
from memory, there's only like a handful of DVDs released with that functionality, and so it never really took off. Sadly,
Who made the new one?
it was a sort of standard like Dolby.
MSX type thing, 3DO, different makes.
Right. So
Aye.
there was a Chiba and a Samsung and I think a Hitachi new one.
Right.
DVD player. So I think they just sort of paid a fee to use the technology within it. And then on the 360, I got Space Giraffe. I thought that was great. So when Polybius was announced for the PS4, yeah, I was all in. I like it. I mean, it's sort of more of the same, isn't it? It's sort of mad, crazy, in the zone, shooty stuff.
Yeah.
I think if I was to critique the game, it's really good fun. Lots going on, tons of explosions. I'm only playing it in 2D on a standard
I'm the
PS4.
same. Yeah. Yep.
I would imagine with all the gear on, it's something else. But I'm finding, and we're only sort of 3 days in. I'm finding that the ship that you control. So for anyone who hasn't played it, you have a ship here and you steer left and right. You're shooting into the screen and stuff's coming towards you, but it's in all sort of different environments. Is because of the way the game works. You're looking into the sort of vanishing point of the game, right into the center. So you're looking directly into the middle of the screen, and yet your ship is down here.
Aye.
And it's quite difficult to know where your ship is in relation to the environment.
Yep.
Part of the game is you've got to steer through some gates which are coming towards you, and it isn't always easy to do that because your ship. I'm quite sure it's all deliberate, and I'm just a can 48-year-old
Well,
gamer.
actually, I saw your comment on Rodent, and I replied to it. I mean, I did a kind of brief recording of the thing for my YouTube channel, and I made that exact comment. I said the only flaw I can see is because you're so focused on what's coming towards you. It's like one of these things. If you stare at a dot in the centre of the screen, eventually everything else just disappears. And I find that the ship vanishes, and you've actually got to take your eyes and look down, and then by the time you see it, boom, you've hit something.
Yeah.
Aye.
I wonder if it could be made a bit more prominent. I don't know. Maybe
if it was even bigger, or maybe even if it's like bigger and the actual colour stood out. But I mean, it's really small in comparison to what's kind of going on around you. Yeah.
Yeah. But having said that, I mean, it's a nitpicking thing. I think it's a great experience,
nice.
And it's a cracking game. And you know what? Jeff in his cottage in Wales is still spewing this stuff out as a one-man band. Fantastic. And for what is it, 14 quid?
Aye, 14 quid or something, whatever it is. Aye. I hope it does well. I mean, are you tempted to get a PSVR at all? You haven't got one. Or you've just told me you haven't got one. Would you be tempted to get one?
Yeah, I'm in the process of selling off some junk on eBay, and I'm up to
junk. Dreamcast. That's not junk.
Well, yeah, but that hasn't sold. So I kind of, I'll be a bit sad when that does.
Yeah.
Some old CDs I had lying around, I think are worth a fortune. With good money. So I've sold a few bits, and I'm sort of saving, because often what happens is you sell something and you think, oh great, 50 quid, and it goes into your PayPal account, it goes into your bank account, and then it just gets pissed away on shopping. And you think, I sold something for 50 quid. I want to go.
You're right.
Taking the money in my account, going to the cash point, taking the money out in cash.
Put it in a jam jar.
Yeah, it's actually top. So I'm up to 200 quid, and my initial thought is to buy a Switch, but having played Jeff's Polybius game, I'm kind of weighing up now whether I should go with SVR or a Switch. So I've got no doubt the next time we talk, you'll be like, so which one did you get? I said, well, I still can't make my mind up. And the money will just be pissed away on something. So I think I'd like to see it sort of bedded in a little bit more. I want to be convinced it isn't going to be another
Connect or whatever.
Yeah, I've been sort of stung with new hardware in the past, so maybe.
I hate to say it, but Jeff does make awesome games, but every time he brings an awesome game, the bloody system dies a death. Konix, Jaguar.
So let's give it a few months and see.
I'm exactly the same. When I got myself one of these Samsung Gear VR thing. Have you tried VR at all? Have you actually tried it?
Yeah, I bought one of the headsets that you drop your mobile phone in.
Aye. And it is,
it was interesting for a day to muck around with, and then I don't even know where it is.
The thing is, I bought it, this Samsung VR thing, and the day I got it, I was fucking phoning people. Oh, you've got to get this! It's brilliant. I'm in the cinema. I'm watching Star Wars, and I'm in a big screen, and I'm looking about. And then I can't remember the last time I touched it. I think for me, it's like anything. It's like 3D TV. I think until they come up with something you can sit down and go, I fancy watching that in 3D. Boom, there you go. You're in it. The fact that you've got to piss about and, well, in my case, take the phone out of the holder and put it into the thing, and then, oh shit, it's only got 15% charge. You've got to piss about with it. And the sort of society we live in nowadays, we don't want that hassle. We just want to dive straight in and use it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Do you get any problems with the sort of nausea, sickness thing?
Yeah. Not with my limited experience of VR. I do get it on some PS4 games. Doom was the new Doom, or the relatively new.
Aye, that wasn't in 3D, obviously, just the actual game itself, yeah.
Just some first-person shooters, not all of them, but just some of them. And Doom especially, it was, oh man, it was like, within 5 minutes I was just,
feeling,
just throw my guts up. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's a certain frame rate, or how much of the landscape.
The sort of view thing.
But there's a sort of combination of something going on that just some games just maybe.
It seems to be. I think the higher frame rate, whatever, or frames per second, or 120, whatever the hell it is. that is better sort of thing. But I mean, I've got a couple of games on the Samsung VR thing, and oops, hang on, the screensaver's kicked in and you've just vanished for a second. There we go. What was I going to say? Yeah, and there's this kind of horror game, and obviously it's super smooth when you turn round, but when you I think the thing is, if you turned your head like so and it turned, that'd be fine. But you're not. You're sort of well, it does do that to a certain extent, but the fact that you're using the joystick to kind of turn round, and your body's is staying the same, and your brain can't comprehend. Wait a minute, I'm moving yet I'm not moving, so I get sickness with that one, like. But yeah, so I was going to, because I was all over the Samsung VR thing. I thought I saw the PSVR getting, bang, I'm in there, on day one sort of thing, and then after I realised I was kind of losing interest in this other thing, I thought I'll cancel the PSVR, and I'm not convinced. I mean, I don't know how many games there are. The problem I think with VR is all the games that I've tried, they're just like mini games. They're not real full. If they brought out like Grand Theft Auto 6, I'd be all over that. You imagine playing Skyrim or something like that in full VR, that would be pretty amazing. But I don't know. I actually heard, in fact I posted in the forum yesterday, I heard that apparently through like Sony, some people are saying that Sony have abandoned it and it's just going to go the way they Kinect. But then there's a flip side saying that they're bringing out some big games and it's going to be the next big thing. So I think I'll probably do the same. I'll maybe wait, because I wouldn't want to lash out 400 quid just to play Polybius or whatever it's called.
Well, there's that as well. I think whichever way it goes, it'll probably be worth a purchase, won't it? It'll either turn into something fantastic, or it'll just turn into something super cheap, and you think, I might as well get one.
Yeah. So anyway, good. Listen, Tony, that's magic. Now, what I obviously want to talk about is you've got apart from being rather good at missile command, you've got a rather popular website, a blog that you've started. What was the actual URL to it? Is it arcadeblogger.com? What is it?
It's arcadeblogger.com.
.com. Yeah. So I'm actually jumping ahead. I should actually just. So that's question 18. Just I'll raise that bit out. No, probably not. I'll just keep it in. We'll start at the very beginning and work our way through. Right. Firstly, before I touched on this before, what prompted your love affair with actual proper arcade cabinets? I mean, I've got MAME and that kind of stuff, but I don't have any real cabs. What actually got you going, thinking, I love the real cabs? What started that for you?
I don't know if it was anything specific, but I think it was just the fact that these things were appearing in the mainstream. It just I think this would have been around 1980, 81, 82, and just like in the US, we were seeing more and more places having arcade cabinets. So be it cruise ships or pubs or cafes, and these arcades were springing up. And I guess like any other early teens kid, I was drawn to it because it was something new. And I remember I think I told this story last time I was on, but I remember going as a family to Burnham-on-Sea, which is a seaside town down here in the south, in the southwest, and Dad took us on the pier, and he sat me down in front of a Night Driver, which is the old black and white Atari game where it's basically poles coming towards.
Oh, I remember that. Aye.
And there was a helmet on top of the cabinet, and Dad put this helmet on me. I don't know why it was there, but there was just a helmet, presumably to make it a bit more interactive or something. Stuck this helmet on me, patted it twice, put 10p in the slot, and walked off. And I was sitting there, I just remember thinking, I'm driving a car. So, the whole escapism of video games, I think sort of hit me at that point. And then fast forward a few years, obviously, my love affair with Missile Command started and continued. And then, of course, the arcades died, and they weren't what they once were. And then I think my passion was rekindled in my early 30s when arcade machines started turning up on eBay, and as a consumer you could buy these what were commercial machines and stick them in your house. And I think now it it's a sort of lost part of our popular culture. You know, they all disappeared. They either got smashed up or they ended up in warehouses and barns and old storage units. And nobody spoke about Pac-Man or Space Invaders, you know, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think for me, it's a sort of mission now to remind people, not so much the hardcore collectors or even people who are into gaming, although I'm sure they find the stuff that I write about now interesting, or at least I like to think so. But really, just the general public, and because everybody of a certain age remembers them, you know, whether they're into gaming or not. You know, and anybody who comes to the house and they see you know, my Asteroids cap here, they go, "Oh my God, I remember that game.
I remember that. Aye.
That, you know, I used to play it." And they probably haven't touched a video game since, and they see their kids playing video games on Xbox and PS4 or whatever. But to remind people that, you know, that's what we had. You know, these were, for a couple of years at least, these were the PS4 of the 80s, and just to bring a bit of sort of humanity and joy to the subject, I think is what I'm trying to do. That sounded really poncy, didn't it?
I'll lay that out, don't worry.
You know, just I think the subject matter is really accessible. You know, you don't have to be a technical nerd to be fascinated with what these things represented and how they were a real, you know, backdrop to our lives. And that, you know, we all wanted to recreate the arcade experience on our Spectrums and Commodore 64s, and of course the reality was very disappointing.
Yeah, usually.
So you do a arcade conversion
Arcade
series.
Perfect my arse, yeah. You're basically comparing, looking at the arcade one and then the different home versions, and 9 times out of 10, I mean, you know, there's usually nothing like it.
Yeah, and that's such a good idea, because the sense of disappointment having spent $9.99 on a bad version of Scramble for the ZX Spectrum was palpable, and I think you know, raising that again and kind of, you know,
it's an interesting point, Tony. I mean, you know, the arcades and the sort of 8-bit computers and all the home computer thing, it's a part of life. I mean, even now there's really nothing on TV about this subject or this kind of hobby, and it's kind of been left to guys like you and myself, videos and all that, to document it. So when we're both long gone up to the great arcade in the sky, people can look back and go, bloody hell, look, this guy's talking about this, and all, well, that's what that was. If it wasn't for people like ourselves talking about, you know, what we played and whatnot, a lot of that would be lost. You know, you just have your, you know. So we're kind of the historians of this hobby, you know. We're documenting it. Yeah.
That's exactly right, and I don't know why TV hasn't sussed it out. You know, and I suppose no one wants to watch, you know, you or me play Donkey Kong for 2 hours or share tips on video games that I already play, because all that stuff's in a certain place if you want to go and get it. And they haven't sussed it out, and I think the issue is that TV still regards games as games, and I guess they think, if we're going to do a TV show about gaming, we need to show people playing games, when actually you don't need to do that, because everybody already plays games. So I don't watch someone playing the new PlayStation 4 release, because I can go to Twitch and do that if that's my thing. What I would like to hear about is, you know, the early days of Atari. I mean, Christ, there's an entire TV series there. Or, you know, how Nintendo went from the arcades and then dominated the home market, or, you know, how you know, developing games has gone from one guy in front of an old VAX computer to, you know, a team of 500 people,
multi-million pound budgets.
There's so many interesting subjects around video games as a moniker, which I think is being missed out upon. But I suppose it's convincing those TV execs that actually there's a market for it, which of course there undoubtedly is, but also convincing them that actually video games are more than just Grand Theft Auto and
Call of Duty, yeah, Minecraft.
yeah, and but I think you're right. I sort of see it as our job really to try and get this stuff down and documented before it all gets forgotten about.
I mean, the only programme that's come on the TV recently with computer games was it Go 8-Bit with Dira O'Brien or whatever the hell his name is, and it was just a fucking bunch of celebrities having a half-arsed attempt at playing a computer game. That's what they obviously think this is.
Yeah, and the whole, to me, I only watched one, to be fair, but
I watched two and I gave up.
To me, the whole series, there's just an underlying sort of snide piss take of the whole thing. Which is okay, but it's that panelled comedian genre, and they've just attached the subject of video games to it.
Yeah.
It's have I got news for you, but just changing it for video games. I'm all for satire and comedy and such, but there's there's a lot more passion within the world of video games.
I mean, what we are sitting doing here just now, I know like this kind of thing, two people who are obviously hugely in love with video games, people love, and I love to sit and listen to people talking about video games, and this kind of thing that we're doing right now, if you had an hours long every Friday night on Channel 5, it would get good ratings, you know what I mean? It would be popular, but one thing, when I spoke to Dominic Diamond a couple of years ago, and I asked him, I says, do you think, is there a place for Games Master? And he says, nah. He says, the internet has killed it. He says, because what you want to see in TV is available on YouTube. And he's kind of got a point, I mean, what we're talking about. I mean, like, my daughter, Ava, she doesn't watch TV, and to be fair, I don't watch TV. All my viewing is through the computer. I would rather think that I'll sit in front of YouTube. Missile Command. I'll watch a documentary about Missile Command. You can just it's like TV on tap, but it's stuff that I want to actually watch. So I suppose the internet has technically maybe killed it. I don't know, but
it also needs credibility, because
what was that, Tony? Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I think it also needs some credibility. So. I'm completely inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, and so are you, with the greatest respect.
Absolutely, yeah, we're just two Joe publics,
and we're just a couple of idiots with Google and a webcam, and we can have an opinion, just like the other thousands of other people on YouTube. But I think in order to sort of dig down into the real interesting snippets of the story, you need credibility. And if I pick up the phone and try and get hold of some of the founders of Atari and say, hey, my name's Tony, I've got this little website, would you mind talking to me? Like, yeah, you and 1,000 other people who ring every week. Whereas if you ring up from the BBC and you've got a budget and you can be there in 24 hours on a plane with your equipment, I think it's going to get you through.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I got the fright of my life when I noticed Nolan Bushnell was following me on Twitter. I thought, oh, fucking hell, how did he find that? And I thought, he must have saw my channel. And of course, I posted on my Mamemeister Facebook page, and then the bubble was soon burst when about 500 other people said, oh, he's following me on Twitter as well. Alright, okay. I don't know. But he never replied to my message.
Right.
My invitation to come on, but yeah. Anyway, brilliant. So how long have you actually, I mean, obviously you've been restoring cabs for a number of years, Tony. When did you first start that, and what was the very first, I mean, you got a Missile Command which was restored by Archer McLean, and then did you buy a machine and do it yourself?
Yeah, around about that time I bought a Defender machine, which needed a fair amount of stuff doing to it, in order to get it reliable and kind of looking nice enough to bring into my house. So it sort of started with Defender. So this would have been 2004, something like that. And as anyone will tell you, when you start collecting arcade cabinets, well, I wouldn't say you start collecting. When you own an arcade cabinet, 1 is never enough, and then 2 is never enough, and then it becomes 3, and then it becomes 4. And if you're not careful, it can.
We've all seen the videos when the guy can't even get into his kitchen for cabs.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So that I think I sort of recognised that pretty quickly. That this could get quite out of hand. So I've always had a pretty manageable collection of stuff, and I'm happy to sort of sell things when I haven't got room to actually house the cabinet. And it's a great learning tool because you really start to understand how these things work. And there isn't much to them. It's a bit of wood, a PCB, some wiring, power cable and a monitor and a joystick and a couple of buttons, and it's all linked together. And so in that respect, it's a great way to learn about how these early games worked. And it also gets you into the heart of the game, rather than just sort of walking into an arcade and pushing a start button and playing a game of Missile Command. When you've got your head in the back of a cabinet with a torch and a multimeter trying to work out why the bloody thing keeps resetting every half an hour, you kind of build. I'm going to sound really poncy now, but you sort of get into the heart and soul of the game, and you your ownership of it becomes a bit more because you understand it.
Of course, yeah.
It works. You know how far the throw on your joystick is, and you become closer to your games. God almighty, what does that sound like? But
I know what you mean. Yeah. So Defender, you've not got that one anymore, have you? What happened?
No, I haven't. Defender, I moved on to buy a Robotron cabinet.
Which you've still got? Have you still got a Robotron? No.
I've also moved on my Robotron.
Really? Yeah.
Which was a bit stupid. The prices of these things is going nuts. Funnily enough, last week there was a Robotron on eBay, an American upright cabinet, and the guy started it at I think 99p. Up to the point where it had about 5 hours to go, it was up to I don't know, £1,600, something like that, and then it got pulled before the auction ended. So clearly somebody made him a cash offer that he couldn't refuse off eBay. I think from his description there was a few things wrong with it. So people are now paying real premiums for these arcade cabinets, whether they're working or not. Case in point, Saturday an auction ended on an Asteroids Deluxe upright, not working, fairly beaten up. Went for £720.
Jesus.
So people are now putting their hands in their pockets for a restoration project. So gone are the days where you could pick up a beat up old arcade cabinet for a couple of £100 and make it look nice. You're now having to pay premium prices just for original working arcade machines. So I don't know where this is going to go, because certainly over the last 3 years or so, prices have really risen north. I think as more people have got into the hobby, less of these things are turning up on eBay because there's less of them out there as more and more get found and sort of taken into the hands of collectors. You're going to see less and less of these things appearing on eBay. So the market's being squeezed, and I think more people are looking for the next thing to get into. So if you've been collecting Neo Geo cartridges or Game Boy games or PlayStation games or whatever your thing is, what's the next thing? And I think as well, many of these shows like Play Manchester and Revival and Nerg.
Newcastle.
I think the more of these things that go on where you can walk in and go, oh, wow, there's a Space Invaders machine. I think again there's a few people getting the bug from that, and they're then starting to investigate. What's that hobby all about?
Aye.
I want a Space Invader machine. to do to
I
get that.
suppose, yeah, I suppose before these big shows existed, it was just the serious sort of nerds who knew about them, and eBay used you could go into maybe and buy an asteroids machine for 50 quid. But now everybody, I mean, retro is becoming more mainstream now, and um, obviously it's supply and demand, isn't it? And people are willing to pay money for these things.
So I wonder where it's going to go. The one thing to remember about the hobby, clearly the price of entry is going to be a barrier for many people. If you haven't got £2,000 lying around, you haven't got £2,000 lying around. But certainly, if the experience of the last few years is anything to go by, there's less chance of actually losing money if the money side is a concern. So you can buy that Robotron for 2,000 quid. You can get it working. You can own it for a year. You can think, well, it's probably time for me to move it on. The chances are you aren't going to take a bath on it, and if you do lose money, and it isn't going to be a great deal. Okay, so you lose 300 quid. Well, that's not bad for a year's worth.
Owning a cab, yeah.
Of Robotron. But again, I think it's one of those hobbies that if you're going to get in it for the money to make a fast buck, it is.
Get it. Yeah.
Because it can't be done. There isn't enough margin in these cabs to buy and sell cabs, unless you're buying very, very cheap from somebody who doesn't know what they've got, and then you're selling it very high at the top end through a commercial business. But you have to sell a lot of arcade machines to make a living, I think.
Yeah. I think it's all the old systems now. I mean, I picked up a lot of my systems for not very much money, fortunately. But now, you bloody go on eBay and you look at a ZX Spectrum rubber key, and they're wanting like 150 quid for it. You've got that for 20 quid a few years ago, but rare,
Yeah.
But okay, anyway, yeah. So if you were to give anybody who wants to start out on the restoration thing, what kind of top 3 tips, or if you could give them one tip or any advice about, I want to get into restoring a cab, what would you say? What 3 things should you be aware of before you get into it, would you say?
I would.
Deep pockets.
Well, yeah. Apart from deep pockets and look, I would say use the internet as a reference point for what that cab should look like. And I say that because there's nothing worse than a badly restored game. So there was someone posted pictures of a pinball machine at a trade show in the States, and I think it was a Super Mario Brothers pinball machine, and it was described as being fully workshopped by supposedly a professional company that buys and sells cabinets, and they'd literally hand painted over the worn parts of the playfield. So you imagine a pinball
Jesus.
Beautiful artwork, lovely, pristine, nice and smooth. And someone had actually gone in with what I guess was sort of poster paint, and they'd tried to sort of, and I mean, they must have spent hours and hours and hours doing. It looked terrible. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. So get as much reference as you can to understand what that machine should look like. And then just do loads of reading, and I think the best place to do that will be on the collector forums, and go into the technical section, ask lots of questions, understand what you need to get your cab back into shape.
So I think that would be me that would do something like that. I mean, I've not got the patience or the skill to sort of restore a cab. I mean, I look at what you've done. You take an old battered cab and you virtually make it look like it's just rolled off the assembly line. But I mean, I'm all about gaffer tape and putting black masking tape around things just to make it look alright. The thing is, I buy stuff just to play. I don't really give two smegs about what it looks like as long as it works. I mean,
right.
But
But I mean, you see that I when I bought my Donkey Kong cab, it was practically empty. There was nothing in it. It was a mess. It didn't work. It had been converted to something else. And I remember when it arrived, and the guy delivered it, and it was sat on a pallet in front of my garage, and the guy drove off waving, it'd been shipped over from Germany, and I remember looking at it and thinking, what have I done? I mean, I haven't got a clue. I had to hammer a nail into a wall, let alone restore this thing. And it sat there for about 6 months, and I was sort of hoping it would sort of, it's like brush it under the carpet. Maybe it would just disappear, or someone will take it away, and I won't have to deal with my guilt of what I paid for this.
Did you kind of have that horrible feeling in the stomach after arrived, thinking, "Fucking hell, I've wasted all that money"?
Massive buyer's remorse. And then one day, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna, if I go down, then I'm going to go down crashing and burning on this. Am I going to make a complete mess of it, or am I actually learn something? And the key thing is to just break it down into individual parts. So just think, well, today I'm going to work on the control panel.
Yeah.
Got this rusted old joystick. Right. Well, let's have a look here. Well, okay. If I undo that screw, okay, the joystick top comes off. Oh, that's clever. Now I can pull the whole thing out, and now I'm looking.
You can wash it. Aye.
Well, this is quite simple. There's a little grommet on there. Well, I'll flick that off, and then the whole thing sort of falls apart. And you go, okay, well, I can see how this all goes back together. Let's give it a wash. Well, I need to grease that a bit. Put some grease on it. Stick it back in. Put the ball top back on, and then buttons. Well, you can buy new arcade buttons at pretty much anywhere, but Google search will send you to all sorts of places. Take the old buttons off, the old fag burns, get those off, stick the new buttons on. Artwork. Well, okay, the artwork on the control panel, where can I get that from? Well, again, if you Google Donkey Kong control panel, you will find a high-res scan of the original artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either take it to your local printer as a starter for 10, or you can send it to companies who specialise in reproducing arcade artwork. Or you could just buy it straight off, straight off the shelf where some of these companies produce this. Buy one of those, get it shipped back. Right, I'm going to put this back together. And I remember the first thing I did on my Donkey Kong was the control panel, and I then looked at the sort of before picture where it was not a Donkey Kong control panel; it was just a mess. To pristine, mint, brand new looking control panel. I thought, well, this isn't so difficult.
Yeah.
It isn't rocket science. There's nothing particularly difficult about restoring a control panel. Just get a screwdriver out, dismantle it, work out what you need to do, buy the bits, put it all back together.
So it sounds to me like patience is a big thing. You need to, you could do a rush job like I would probably do, and it looks shite. But yeah, I think there's a lot of patience. Don't expect it to restore it over a weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And the same with painting a cab. When you need to repaint a cab. I don't know anything about woodwork, but again, get on the forums, buy some car filler, fill in the gouges, get your sander out, sand it flat, and then paint it. I mean, I painted my Donkey Kong with a mini roller, 3 coats of blue paint, and it looks absolutely pristine. No, this isn't that difficult, And exactly like you, from the outside in, thinking, I haven't got a clue here. Boards that don't work, there's plenty of guys out there who can repair boards. Just send them the board, 50 quid later, secure postage either way. The board's back, plug it in, boom, away you go. You've got a...
I can only imagine the sort of the self-achievement you get when you actually finally power it on and have your first game of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a great deal of satisfaction of looking at some of your cabinets and thinking, well, I remember what that looked like when I first bought it, and look at it now, and that's entirely down to
you.
There's a lot more satisfaction of ownership doing it that way rather than buying a pristine cabinet off of eBay or off a forum or whatever. So.
It's funny. I mean, I'm a total bloody cat-candid baboon when it comes to technical stuff or DIY skills, but I built myself a little, what do you call it, a little bar top main cab type thing, and I mean, I bought the shell. It was one of these arcade things, and I stripped the controls out, and there's a guy, Mike Hansen. Do you know Mike at all? Mike Hansen. It was actually John Studley recommended. Mike's a great guy. He specialises. He makes all these bespoke kind of arcade controllers, USB, absolutely stunning. I mean, I've bought 4 off Mike. It was John. I mean, put it this way, John had said that Mike had made a controller for John's Pac-Man machine. I thought, well, that's you can't get a better recommendation than that. You know what I mean? So I sent the arcade controller came with like its built-in controls, but they were really clicky and they weren't the greatest. So I sent that away to Mike, and he put totally new controls, like non-clicky arcade buttons. Is it gold leaf? I don't know what they're called exactly, but anyway, and I just pieced it together. I thought, oh right, I'll cut that wee bit of perspex out and put that there, and I'll make a wee bit for the wee marquee, and I'll put a wee bit of wood up there, and I was just using wood glue and no nails and bloody gaffer tape, and I managed to cobble together this little thing, which I'm stupidly proud of it. Yeah, it looks pretty shite when you see it up close, and in fact I think it was yourself, Tony, that gave me I got the side art printed. What's your mate that he printed the side art for me?
Oh yeah,
Paul, was it Paul? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Tony, Paul. Doesn't matter anyway, and he did a cracking job for me. I've got the Space Invaders side art at the front and at the side as well, and it really finishes it off. But if you look up close, yeah, you can see where I've got like black electrical tape. But you know what? I've built it, and I'm really proud of it. You know. So
yeah.
aye.
Once you've done one, if you were to build another one tomorrow,
I would know how to do it better. Aye.
You'll do a much better job,
Yeah,
because you know you might have screwed up previously. And I think, like anything, isn't it? You know, the more you do, the better you get.
There's always a right and wrong way to do something. I suppose you'll learn.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's a good point, actually. I think when it comes to restoring cabs, there actually is no right or wrong way to doing. I think everybody has their own. Everyone has their own sort of ways of doing certain things. It's funny, on my blog, this week I put a post up about washing an arcade monitor.
I have not watched that one yet, actually. I'm going to come to that soon, though.
So, within an arcade cab, if you have the old sort of CRT screens, even they weren't flat panel, and these things get filthy dirty. And there's two schools of thought. One is you have to go in with alcohol and a cotton bud and a tissue, and you need to delicately brush and wipe and clean around all the other school of thought is to just discharge the thing, stick it in the garden, get a hose out, spray it with fairy liquid, and just wash the bloody thing down and then dry it off. And it's been quite interesting how divided the community is about this, because some people are saying, you must be crazy. You cannot put water, not because you're going to get electrocuted, but because
you're going to ruin it.
Just cannot allow water to run inside electronic components. And there's another school of thought is, well, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been washing monitors with a hose in my back garden in Texas for the last 20 years. I leave it to dry in the sun for 5 hours, plug it back in, and it's minty clean. It comes back looking brand new.
That's a whole board as well, capacitors and all that as well?
Stripped everything, yeah.
Really, aye.
Same goes for PCBs and the whole thing. So there is no right or wrong way. And, painting a cabinet, some people would rather spray because it gives a flatter, smooth finish. Others like the sort of slight texture that a roller will give you.
Aye.
And applying side art, some people will, put the top on first and squeegee it down. Others will start from the centre and work outwards. So you sort of learn as you go, and you've just got to be brave and think, I'm just going to get stuck in. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, I'd be screwed with that. I can't even put a bloody screen protector on an iPhone, never mind applying side art to a bloody arcade machine.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
How many cabs have you actually restored in total then, Tony, including the two that you've no longer got?
I would say about a dozen or so.
As many as that. And how many have you got at the moment?
Probably all time.
In your arcade? 6, 7?
In this room I've got 3, I've got 7 at the moment here, sort of finished and in nice condition.
Yeah.
And then down in the garage I've got another 4. So
Have you really? Aye, wow.
I've got a Battlezone Cabaret that I'm in the middle of restoring. I've got an upright Gravatar. I've got a Cosmic Gorilla, where the board is up in Scotland, funnily enough, being repaired at the moment.
Cosmic Gorilla? What type of game is that? Macari Warriors? No. Was it? No.
It's a Universal game, so it's the Space Invader one where the invaders come out from the side and go towards the middle.
Oh, right. Can't.
and take it away, and you're shooting up from the bottom.
Can't recall that one, aye. And then what's the other game? You had 4, you said, in the garage.
Yeah, the other one is Robotron Cabaret.
Oh, so you've got your Robotron back then.
Yeah, but it's a sort of smaller cabaret version.
Similar to your Asteroids one.
Yeah.
Aye.
But that needs everything doing. It needs completely repainting and stenciling. That's something I've not experienced yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
So do you try and, obviously you've got quite a lot on your plate at the moment, but I presume you can't get your car in the garage?
Oh yeah, no, it's just...
I mean, you've obviously got 4, that's going to take up plenty of time. Do you say to yourself, right, I'm not even going to look at anything else, I don't want to know if there's anything in Gumtree 5 minutes down the road, and then you find yourself in Google at night just having a wee sneaky look?
Yeah, all the time. I mentioned that Asteroids machine on Friday. I mean, it was ripe for a restore, and kind of part of my thinking is content for the blog, or at least that's what I convinced myself. It's like, well, if I buy the Asteroids for, I don't know, £300-400, get it in the garage. It's an Atari cabinet. I know my way around Atari cabinets. I know what goes wrong. I know what needs repairing. I can restore that over the period of 6 weeks. There's 5 or 6 articles for the blog, and sell it on. I won't lose any money. Great, happy days. But the price just went bonkers. So I think I'm open to another cabinet if the right thing came along at the right price.
Aye. Have you got a holy grail that you'd love to own?
That's a good question. Yeah, probably every. I mean, I haven't got one because obviously it's it would be Missile Command. I'd like to own the original Missile Command machine with the big attract panel.
Oh, aye. Yeah, you mentioned that before.
I think there's only one of those out there, and I suspect I'd never get my hands on it. But yeah, I think it would be nice to own all of the Atari vectors. So your Space Duels and your Gravitars and your
was
Black
Red
Widow.
Baron, was that one on Atari as well, was it?
Battle Zone, Asteroids Deluxe, Major Havoc, Quantum. That'd be great, but A, I've not got the space, and B, I've certainly not got the money.
Yeah, I'm guessing some collectors want to have each different type, so that they don't want just a cabaret Asteroids. They want the cocktail, and they also want the full Buna as well. Aye.
Yeah, some people go that far. I can't see the point personally because it's it's ultimately the same game. But there's a lot to be said for owning a row of cabinets of a similar style. So if you're familiar with the Universal, so those are the cabinets which are very sexy sort of curves, and a row of those with different games in each looks.
They're all just symmetry, or they're all the same size and shape. Yeah.
I think the same with the Nintendo cabinets. So a nice row of 4 or 5 Nintendo cabinets with a different game in each just looks great. But again, I think for most people, it's some space and funds.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever maybe look at your Centipede cab and think, you know what, I've not played that for a wee while. I quite fancy getting something else. I'll maybe sell it, and then you'll probably instantly regret it.
All the time. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing to remember. If you want to get into collecting arcade cabinets, is you buy a game, you might restore it, or you might just buy it because you really like it. But you have to remember it is just one game.
Yeah.
It's a single game. So it's very much like buying a game on your PlayStation 4 and loving it, and then 6 months later you traded it in it. Computer exchange or game, or it's just sitting on your shelf. You have to remember it's exactly the same thing with arcade games. As sexy and attractive as it might be to own your own Donkey Kong game, I guarantee you won't be playing it in 6 months' time. Or when you do, it will be to show your mother-in-law when she comes round, or visitors to the house, or you might think, out of guilt, I'll have a few hours play. So that's the sad thing. I mean, that's probably the first time I've switched the Centipede on in about a month.
Yeah.
And so it's all very well not playing a £45 game that you bought from Amazon, but it's something else to have a £1,500 arcade game that you played for 6 months and actually you're not really playing it anymore. I mean, if you're active, you can trade and you can sell and you can buy and you can, okay, I'm sort of done with that and I'm going to sell that and I'm going to buy another game to replace it, or you can trade it with someone else in the community. So, and like I said before, you're unlikely to lose money.
Aye.
You're unlikely to lose a great deal of money.
Yeah, I think it's even the same. I mean, I don't have any arcade games, but I've got lots of different. I've got all the 8-bit machines under the sun and 16-bit machines, and sometimes. I mean, I've actually just. I was adamant. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it because I'm old school. I like the old machines. And have you seen this Spectrum Next? This brand new Spectrum that's coming out. I'm thinking to myself, that's just a new computer that happens to be able to play Spectrum games. I've got a PC that can do that. Not interested. Well, I just went and pledged it just before I came on air. I thought, fuck it, quite fancy one of these.
Yeah. I've still got a Vectrex over there in the corner, and I was reading about the Buzz.
It's a feature. Yeah.
And some guy in the US has built a little kit which you can wire up, and it just removes the buzzers. I've got to get one of those. Oh, that's fantastic, great. And I can open it up, and I can do that. I've got a soldering iron, and then you sort of stop. You go, no, stop and think. When was the last time you played your Vectrex? So why would you spend another $40 plus $22 shipping to get this thing, stick it in, and then you're not going to use it again?
Yeah.
So I'm quite good at not just going, I've got to have that, and then buying it, and then I sort of go through the process of getting myself excited about it, and then it's just stupid. You don't need to spend that money. So.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I get somebody will mention something to me. I mean, for example, I go to this monthly computer club, and this guy brought along a Neo Geo, and I'm like, oh fucking hell! I mean, I've been playing Neo Geo games for years under emulation. And they play perfectly. Of course, I saw this thing. I thought, oh, that's brilliant. It was like the Neo Geo CD. I thought, really, there's just something about it's like you with your Centipede. I've got Centipede in my PC or my MAME cab. You've got the real, you know the difference, and I know the difference between playing on real hardware, whether it's a Spectrum, a Neo Geo cab, whatever. Playing with the proper controls, with the proper hardware. It's just different from playing an emulator. So I saw this Neo Geo CD. And, oh, that's great. I came home that night and Google, oh, there's one there, bang, bought it, and I'm a bit of a sucker when it comes to stuff like that. But I'm exactly the same. I mean, then I get the initial kind of guilt. I'm like, fuck's sake, I've got no room for it, and B, I mean, my wife doesn't give me any grief about. She's got no idea what I buy. She's not interested. But the thing is, if I was to, sell everything tomorrow,
Mrs. knows out. Knows what's going on. So there's that as well, hovering in the background somewhere. Who knows when stuff turns up. What have you got this month? Oh, nothing, dear.
That's why PC hard upgrades were great, because they couldn't actually see them. Brand new graphics cards, you didn't even know it was there. But yeah, I just like we were saying though, Tony. I mean, all my stuff, I don't think I've bought anything that is depreciated. It's all gone up. I mean, I got an Atari 800, the original, the big tank version. It weighs like about 10 kilograms. I got that for about 60 quid a couple of years ago. It's probably what they go for on eBay for 300 quid now, you know what I mean? And the only concern is, and this is kind of a bit doom and gloom, we're talking about getting old at the very start. I mean, God forbid anything happened to you, have you got some sort of thing in place that somebody would come along and say, right, I'll sell them for Cheryl and the kids, or would Cheryl just phone the local Heart Foundation, right, come and take these away, boys?
I haven't, but Mrs. Temple has a fair idea of what it's about and where to go, and she knows some of my arcade collecting friends. So should I get run over by a bus tomorrow, I'm sure she'll know where to go in order to liquidate my collection.
I mean, I've got all these hundreds of systems up in my games room, and I've got all these wee SD connectors, and anyone that didn't know what that, they would look at that and go, fucking bin. That's £80 worth you've just flung in the bin. They've got no idea what they are, But I keep actually meaning to take a photograph of everything that I own and write a description of what it is and how much I paid for it or how much I think it's worth. But
yeah, I think from the outside in, it is a crazy hobby. I mean, collecting arcade cabinets. I mean, they are big, they're unreliable, they will go wrong. You know, absolutely prepare yourself for them to go, because every cab will go wrong at some point. And you know, they're not easy to move around. They're not particularly easy to repair from a technical perspective. You probably have to find someone who can repair your PCB unless you're prepared to learn how to do it yourself. But it's I suppose it's like people who want a copy of every SNES game ever released. It isn't because so you can go, I've got every single SNES game, I can play anything I want. It's just because you can, and it sort of becomes more of a custodial thing. You know, I don't own a Missile Command cabinet because I can play Missile Command whenever I like. But yeah, I suppose that's a nice thing to be able to say. I own it because of what it is and what it represents, and it's like owning a piece of art. You know, it is what it is, and you know, I sort of think of it as a custodian thing. I don't think I'd lose a great deal of sleep if I've had the occasional thought of just selling everything up. I just think, you know, prices are high. I could probably liquidate all of this for a couple of very nice holidays, you know, and do something more useful with the cash. And I don't think I'd miss them, because there's shows throughout the year. You've got Arcade Club in Bury where you can get your arcade kicks. I tend to go to the US every year and visit a bunch of bigger arcades, and I guess I'd probably have you know, slightly more of an appreciation for arcade cabinets if I did it that way and didn't actually own any. So I can see a day coming where I just think, do you know what, I'm done with this now. I'm going to sell everything on, let someone else enjoy them, and just, you know, have an admiration for classic arcade cabinets from afar.
I mean, in a similar vein, I'm like owning original hardware. I mean, I got myself. In fact, it's probably my first original bit of arcade hardware is my Neo Geo MVS.
Right.
I got that just a couple of weeks ago, and it's fantastic. It's literally like the size of a Mega Drive, but it can play all the original. We've got the 161 cart in one sort of thing, which is absolutely fantastic. But I plugged it. It's the most bizarre thing ever. I've got multiple 5-into-1 SCART cables, so I've got like 5 different systems all plugged into this one SCART into the back of the TV. Never had any issues with it at all. I had a spare, I had 4 and I had 1 spare, so I plugged the MVS into it, switched it on, and lo and behold, the power light on my PC Engine came on. I'm like, why did that just come on? It's not even switched on. So I switched the MVS off, switched it back on, the light went off, switched the MVS back on, the PC Engine light came back on. I'm like, why is that happening? I pulled out the power to the PC Engine and the light was still on. I thought, bloody hell, obviously there must be, I mean, I'm completely an idiot when it comes to technical stuff. There's obviously some sort of current goes through the SCART, so it must have been going through from the MVS through the SCART cable into the 5-in-1, and then it was going back up the SCART cable into the PC Engine, and it was causing the light to come on, which I've never had any problems with before. So unplugged it, plugged in the MVS, switched the PC Engine on, got my mate to look at it. He says, you've fried the RGB mod. He says, you're looking at a new one. And at that point I thought, you know what, maybe I've had enough of this owning original hardware bollocks, because that's what can happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's really no positives. If you were to write down all the negatives owning original hardware, you'd probably have about 15. Then the one positive is it's original hardware, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, it's the space for all these things. You know, I mean, most of my stuff, not that there's much of it left, but it's just all in boxes in storage. I really haven't looked at it for years and years and years. And I think unless you're going to have a dedicated room with all of these things on display, you know, and sort of do it properly. And that's the other thing. I mean, it's very nice owning original arcade machines, but the reality is I'm the only one who comes in this room.
That's the sad thing is
But,
these
yeah,
games should be enjoyed, eh?
right. So this lovely artwork and cabs, and the room looks great and stuff. And it's like
Aye.
I'm the only person who actually comes in and enjoys it. It's like, why am I doing this? This is kind of that.
Aye.
So I'm sure I'm going to have a rush of as I get older. I'm sure one day I'm going to have a rush of blood to the head. And I'm just going to clear everything out.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, I know again it's a morbid subject, but it'd be better off to spend the money and you can enjoy it, rather than that's Tony. He's only got hours left. We need to sell his cabs. You know what I mean? Maybe they could put you in, bury you inside your missile command cab.
That's the plan.
That would be quite. That would be brilliant. That would be.
You thought I was being serious then, didn't you? I don't it'd be a nice thought though.
You'd need to take the monitor out so you could get your head in properly. I would think.
Face sticking out of it.
Aye, keep the bezel and just have your face. Aye.
Yeah, something to Photoshop that.
That's one to think about. What's your most? I'm actually only on question number 5 out of 43. Do you want to take a break for 5 minutes, Tony? Get a cup of tea or something?
If you like.
Right, quick toilet break and cup of tea break. So anyway, listen, Tony. I'm only about probably 2% into the questions, but we'll just how you fix time wise.
Yeah, good for another 45 minutes or so.
Excellent. Well, listen, see, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's good just to be able to talk openly rather than, yes or no answers. Would you be up for maybe a part 2, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, something like that?
Sure, yeah.
Fantastic, because I don't think we're going to get through that. Certainly not in 45 minutes. So anyway, listen, what was your restoring cabs? Have you got one particular cab that was particularly challenging more than any other one, or do they all have their sort of problems?
I think there is one which is one of the ones in the garage, which is the Gravatar. That's going to be probably the sort of biggest restoration I've undertaken. The cab's complete, but the issue is the monitor. So it's a color vector monitor.
Oh, is it really? Aye. Right.
And the guy I know the guy bought it from me. I mean, he's a good lad, but his description was the monitor needs sorting. And I thought, oh, that's all right. It probably just needs a service, change a few caps. Picked it up. It's in bits. So it's in bits. Some of the capacitors are missing from the board, and I was looking at it, like, oh my god, So it will be literally building a monitor from the ground up. So that includes the PCBs, some of the wiring's missing, so I'm going to have to organise some wiring and stuff. Thankfully, it's the same monitor as in
your Tempest.
So if it was just on its own from scratch and I was having to get the schematics out, I would be struggling. But I'm kind of figuring I'll just get a big table, I'll take this monitor out, take it apart.
Okay.
Right, that's what it needs to look like, and this is what I've got. So what have I got to do to get? So I'm a sort of point of reference, so I can go, well, that's missing. There's a wire that goes in there that's not on this one, so I need to, So
yeah.
I'm kind of hoping just by being sort of logical and precise, I'll get through it. But it's a long haul that cabinet, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how big a job would it be to take a monitor out of one of these things? I mean,
it's not too cool. So you've got a couple of screws up at the top here, which you undo. That lifts this metal bar off. This is just a bit of plexiglass. You can remove that, and then here you basically just got 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unplug it underneath, and it literally will just come out the front.
Right, okay, yeah.
So it's not too.
Mm-hmm. I presume these. I mean, that's kind of getting into a question I was going to come on to later on. I mean, I presume these cabs were never really designed to be taken to bits. They were designed to be used and then probably moved out and something else brought in. Is that probably the case, you think?
Yeah, probably. The repair of the cabinets back in the day was a bit slapdash. So an arcade would have a sort of technical guy who would go around and fix things. But very often they wouldn't do a terribly good job. So if I need to fix a monitor, I'm looking to sort of do it properly and hopefully bulletproof it so that it lasts for another 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, back in the day when a monitor went down, the arcade owner was saying to his tech guy, just get the thing working. So, I mean, it isn't uncommon to find nails being used instead of the correct fuses,
Really? Aye.
or a much higher amp fuse in a fuse holder than should have been. Just because, well, that's all I've got. If I stick that in, it'll work. Get it back out on the floor to take money, you know. So, funnily enough, right here. So
Wow. What is that?
what,
A guide to electronic games
yeah.
operation
So
and servicing. Wow.
this is quite a rare item. So this was produced by Atari, and it was intended to be a technical manual for operators and people who serviced arcade machines, and it sort of various sections. So that's a section on printed circuit components, and it sort of gives you a bit of background about, you know, what. And it's actually a really nice, interesting document. I don't think I've ever used it for actually looking at, you know, how to repair a board. But so Atari produced things like this to help operators repair their games. But I wonder how many of them actually, you know, took that to heart. You know, they just found clever ways of fixing or bodging arcade machines just to get them working and taking them again.
Get it working as soon as you say. It's obviously it was, you know, they weren't making any revenue with this thing being down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know, arcades were a business; they weren't a passion or a hobby, as they.
Yeah. Obviously, you've kind of touched on it. I've just put here. You've raised a few eyebrows with your immersing electronic boards in hot soapy water. I mean, how did you actually discover that was an effective method? Had you heard about it?
Yeah, I'd read about it on a forum. So when if you've got sort of mild OCD, which I suppose I probably have, when you start restoring an arcade cabinet, even if it just needs a clean, so you know it doesn't need completely stripping and repairing and all that. If you just get it and it's just filthy, and you think I'm just going to give this a good clean. So you clean the sides, and then you clean the front, and then you think, well, so it looks nice, but that button's got a cigarette burn on it, or that joystick's got gunk hanging out of it. Well, I've got to clean that because I've cleaned everything else.
Aye.
So you take that apart. That's another 4 hours. By the time you've taken it apart, cleaned it, re-lubed it, and stuck it all back together. And then you go inside, and it's filthy on the bottom. So, okay, well, I'm going to get the power board out, and I'm going to hoover the bottom of the cabinet inside to get all that horrible dust and rat shit and birds' nests and whatever else is in there. And then you pick up the power supply to put it back in, and you go, oh, Christ, well, that's just filthy as well. So now I'm going to start. And it's just one job after another. And then you think, oh, you know, quick half hour, clean over with a sponge. No, never is, because there's always something else to do.
Yeah.
When it comes to PCBs, of course, the difficulty is the way they look. So, I mean, I've got a small one here. That's a Super Missile Attack board, which was an add-on for Missile Command. And, you know, there's chips, and you can remove them, and there's wires, and so you think, well, some cleaning alcohol would do the job, and a cotton bud, so you start, you know, intricately going around. I haven't got the patience for that, and I never end up with a result that I'm happy with. So if you go on the forums, there are plenty of guys who say, you know, just take the removable chips out, so these chips will come off.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, what are you left with? Well, you're not left with much. It's just plastic, a few wires, some sockets, and that's about it, really. So, yeah, you know, stick it in a washing up bowl, put a bit of feather on it, give it a scrub, comes out.
Have you ever tried it in the dishwasher at all? Anything?
I haven't. There are some guys who use the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite gone that far, but apparently it produces very good results.
Mm-hmm. Just when you're talking about building your Donkey Kong control panel, I suppose if you set the bar with how good that looks, then you're not going to skimp on the rest of it. You know, it'd be a shame if it looked fantastic. I can look at the state of the side of that looks crap. You know, so yeah, if you start there, you'd want to keep it looking good.
There's a lot to be said for owning some authentic cabinets with, you know, Jane Jane loves John scratched into the side of it, and fag burns, and there's some guys who want that authentic dirty look.
I can kind of get that. Yeah.
I get that, but as you say, once you've started building a collection and your cabinets are pristine looking, which I like to think mine are, you're not going to suddenly put a knackered old beat up thing in. So it's as you say, I probably a victim of my own design, really. That nothing's going to come in this room unless
it looks shit hot. Yeah.
Unless it passes the acid test of looking like it's going to fit in with everything else.
Yeah,
it's me, and there's other guys out there who have a different view.
No, brilliant. What was it I going to say? I've heard all about that. In theory, you could kill yourself if you don't drain the monitor or something. I mean, that would just make me run a million. I would never want to go in the back of an arcade cab for that reason. I mean, how realistic is that that risk?
I think it's very real. I think you need to treat a CRT monitor with a certain amount of respect, because it does hold a charge. In that sucker cup which you get on the back of the actual screen itself, that will hold a significant charge.
And even I mean, apparently I was looking at the I mean, I've got a couple of Vectrex.
Are you still there, Al?
I'm still here,
frozen.
Yeah. Hey.
Sorry, Al.
That's alright, mate, not a problem. Not a problem, go figure, that's the internet for you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Who's that?
Imminent fibre, apparently.
Oh, what, sorry?
We're imminently getting fibre, apparently, which should be...
Oh, are you? Well, who's that with, Tony? Is it Virgin or Sky?
I think it will be... sort of BT, Sky or Talk.
Right.
Upgrading all of the cabin.
I'm with Sky, and it's fantastic. I mean, there's absolutely no limit at all. I've never had any issues with it at all. I do know that I think if I'm downloading a file, I get 4 megasecond, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, some of my mates, they're on like 50 megasecond with Virgin, but I think at night time they cap it, whereas with Sky it's always perfect. Never had any issues at all. So anyway, we're talking about monitors. I was looking at the Vectrex, and apparently it's got the little sucker thing on it, and they're saying you get 2 screwdrivers, whatever it is. I mean, am I right in thinking that you could have a Vectrex that's maybe not been switched on for 30 years, and you just touch it and boom, will it just hold its charge?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, bear in mind I'm far from technical, but the advice is, if you're going to work on a monitor, make sure you've discharged it, which isn't a difficult thing to do. As you say, you can either use a screwdriver with a wire attached to the frame, or you can get yourself a proper discharging probe, which I've got. So you have an alligator clip which you plug onto the frame to ground it, and then you get your probe and you stick a sort of metal prong underneath the sucker, and then in theory it should make a sort of cracking noise, and it discharge the voltages within the tube, and then you can take it off and work on it safely. Monitors make me a bit nervous, but once you've worked on a couple, you're okay.
I've just got these images of the Frankenstein movie. The electricity. What? It's bizarre that a 30-year-old monitor can hold its charge. I reckon Apple and Samsung need to have a word with these guys and see what how did you manage it?
Right. Yeah,
this thing doesn't last any more than bloody 10 hours. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Aye, very good. Obviously, some of the cabs. I mean, try using the right side of the pen, Alan. I mean, some of the cab. What was the first? I should know that. I mean, obviously one of the first cabs, Space Invaders, whatever it would be, or there's probably earlier ones. I mean, we're talking 40 years on now, aren't we, with some of these machines? Probably, yeah.
I think the first commercially available one was a game called Computer Space, which is the iconic looking.
That's right.
Very sexy fiberglass with a sort of sparkle on it, and there were different. There's a green and a blue and a. That was the earliest one, and then you went through what's referred to as the Bronze Age, which is all of the black and white cabinets.
The sort of Seawolf type things with you looked through it and that kind of thing. Was that?
This is pre-Space Invaders. And then, of course, Space Invaders was the game that probably changed everything.
Aye.
And then from there, we then went to colour. So you've got your Galaxians, your missile commands, and that sort of period between 79 and 82, 83, that's referred to as the Golden Age, where you've got those, real iconic, which is kind of where my collection sits really. So your Centipedes, your Tempests, Donkey Kongs, Missile Command, all those great Atari, Dig Dug. All of that kind of stuff. That's where things really took off, and they became part of the popular culture of.
How readily available are parts? Are there any parts in a cab now that you just simply can't get a hold of, or have they come up with something that can replicate it?
There's a lot of stuff which is still out there, which still gets found. So one of the benefits of an arcade cabinet rotting away is you can still use it for parts. So especially in the US, if you keep an eye on the forums there's always guys selling, an original Nintendo joystick from an arcade game, or a coin door from an Asteroids, or an original Space Invaders marquee, or whatever it might be. So there's plenty of parts out there, and indeed there are some guys who will reproduce parts. So my trackball here in my Centipede, that's a new part, which is sort of based on the original designs. And you've got guys who will do limited runs of Nintendo coin doors, for example, which is at the end of the day just a sheet of metal bent in a certain way. So there will be an arcade collector who happens to work in a steel fabrication shop who knows what he's doing, and he's taken an original Nintendo coin door and has completely reproduced it, and he'll do a run of 50 or so. I got a new Missile Command control panel. The original method of making a control panel from an Atari point of view was it was silk screened. So that's where the paint is literally baked onto the metal frame, rather than having what's called an overlay, which is printed on a piece of vinyl, which you then stick on. And the problem with Missile Command over time is as people play it, you get two worn sections, one underneath the control panel, where there's thousands of hands have just sort of rubbed on it, and underneath the fire buttons. So, and there might be rust involved, and the paint's lifting off. Up until very recently, the only thing you could do would be to buy a reproduction overlay, and then stick the overlay on top of the original artwork to make it look nice. Which is a solution, but it's not as it was done back in the day. And recently, found a company.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Recently, a guy found a company in the States that still did this silk screening process where they bake the paint on, and he managed to get a run done. And I probably sold about 100 of these things, and it's absolutely tip-top, perfect quality. An original. I say original, it's not original, of course, but a reproduction metal fabricated control panel, put through this process where the inks are baked back on. Here, when I show you. No, if you can see that. Can you see that? There you go.
Yep, okay. So that's actually been baked onto the metal rather than, as you see, a plastic overlay. Aye.
Absolutely. So that
nice.
Was a repro. So there's guys out there who will do that kind of thing. And if you're a part of the community and you sort of keep an eye on the forums, you'll see occasionally these runs will come up, and you can pay your deposit and wait for the postman to come.
I presume they're not cheap, these kind of things, because obviously they're very small kind of production on there.
Yeah, and that's the issue. I don't know. I think it was about $120, something like that. And and I think I sold my old control panel for about 40. So you can,
Aye, $60 to get the proper one. Aye. It's not bad. I'm guessing. I mean, I've actually just ordered myself one of the Steve on the forum posted about this thing for the SD card thing for the Dreamcast.
Right.
So me being me, I saw it like, oh, I've got to have one. So lucky enough, I've managed to get one. I'm just waiting on the guy to tell me when I can pay for it.
Oh, right.
But there's a plastic thing you need to put inside. It's to help with the heat, and I think it stops like an SD card falling down inside. And I'm like, where am I going to get one of these? So I went online, and there was a place in the States could do it for like 40 quid for a piece of plastic. I'm like, that's a lot of money. But Steve kindly gave me a link. He says, here's the plans for what you need. Get a local 3D printer. So I went online yesterday, and lo and behold, there's a guy who lives 10 minutes along the road, printed it for me, picking it up tomorrow. I mean, I presume that's not, like, 3D printing is not something that is really conducive to classic cabs. There's not really any plasticky bits. Well, I suppose there's buttons and things, but could you use a 3D printer, do you think?
I guess you could. I must admit, I don't know enough about it, but yeah, there are certainly bespoke plastic parts, some of which have been reproduced, some of which haven't. The Atari cone buttons are notoriously difficult.
Oh, right, aye.
And so those are probably right for 3D printing.
Cone buttons, is that the little like the LEDs for the start on Missile Command, the wee lights, the wee red ones?
Yeah, it houses a cherry switch and the cone. If your viewers are familiar with Atari games, if you look on pretty much any Atari games, it's usually on the start buttons, and it's literally a cone-shaped thing. So you push the cherry button through the control panel and then screw the cone on.
Right.
Start button. It's those cones which either get, snapped, destroyed, burnt with cigarette ends and all sorts of things. They're very, very difficult to get hold of.
How do you find? I mean, it's obviously. I mean, size-wise, if you're to try and put the sort of the arcade restoration community, how many? Are you talking thousands of people, or are you talking less than that? I mean, would you say, is it hard to define?
I think it's probably in the hundreds. Here in the UK, there are tens of people.
Is that all there is?
In the US, it's probably in the hundreds, and then you've got various degrees of restorers. So you've got the real hardcore guys who know everything there is to know about these classic machines. You've got the other guys who sort of sit in the middle, which is probably me. I'm just learning as I go. I haven't got the time or inclination to take on too much, but I think I do a good job when I make a start on a cab. And then you've got the guys on the outside who think about doing it and then don't, or they will buy an already restored machine.
So that's what I would do, because I wouldn't have any confidence. I would say, right, Tony, go and build me one. I'll give you £1,000 to build it. Whereas I would be missing out a huge part of the satisfaction of building your own, I think.
Yeah, and I think I'd really encourage anyone to give it a go, because I mean, you can't really screw up that much, and if you do screw up a paint job on a cabinet, well, you just sand it down and try again. I mean, seriously, if I've been able to produce some of the results I've produced, then I mean, anybody could do it. Seriously, and a lot of it isn't. Removing a huge chunk of the cabinet and then rebuilding it. A lot of it is just basic filler, sand down with a sander. Taking off the metal parts, putting some paint remover on, and then respraying it with some Hammerite paint, which you can buy from Halfords, for Christ's sake. And you're talking about a piece of metal that long, just along like this. These things go notoriously rusty. It's basically a metal bar, and you just when I bought that machine, that was full of rust. So get it, put some paint stripper on, leave it for 10 minutes, scrape it off, sand it down with some wet and dry sandpaper so it's nice and smooth, and then respray it with Hammerite. Really is difficult, and if you screw it up, fine, just remove it again and start.
Do it again, yeah.
And once you've done a couple of those, you know exactly what you're doing. It isn't difficult, and I think the same applies to everything else. So, whilst the results can be quite spectacular, it isn't too difficult.
It's even in a far more kind of minor way. That Neo Geo MVS that I bought, I got the 161 games in one, and it's a disgusting yellow colour, and of course it's yellowed as well. If that makes it, can yellow? You know what I mean? It's faded, whatever it is, and it just looked horrible. I had it plugged into this thing, and I'm like, that looks horrible. So I thought, fuck it. So I'd bought a black aerosol spray when I did my little MAME cab thing. So I just took the board out, sprayed it black, printed off an MVS label on my printer and stuck it on. It looks great.
Right. Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen, you know?
Absolutely.
Just completely changing the subject, talking about boards. I was at at my local computer club last week, and one of the guys, he's got, is it the JAMA board, and he brought along 1942, and with the joystick. And I said to him, because I love Berserk. It was a game just as an original feature on my channel. I thought, what game do I not like? I'm going to try and play Berserk. It's a terrible game. And I started playing it, and it's now one of my favourite arcade games. I'm not good at it, but I love it to bits. It's a fantastic game. And this guy Ian, he's right into Berserk as well, because he was watching my channel. I was doing I was trying to get good at it, feeling miserably. But Ian, he's right into Berserk as well. And I said to him, you never fancy getting a Berserk thing? And then he went on his phone and he says, see these 5 boards? That's a Berserk cab. I'm like, what? 5 big boards for, I don't know, like 10k of memory or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane,
Big old beast, the machines and the PCBs. I mean, it's just mad to think that now we can play any arcade game we like from an SD card and a Raspberry Pi.
Aye, or on your phone, it's just
any single arcade, or on your phone. And yet back then it was these big, unreliable, it was just amazing how far technology's come.
Mm-hmm. Well, the card that Steve's recommended I get for the Dreamcast, it's a micro SD card. It's the size of my fingernail, and it's 200 gig, 200 Dreamcast games on your fingernail. I just can't get my head round.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Where does it all get stored about? I just don't understand that, but crazy. So how friendly and helpful do you find the community, Tony? Are they generally, you'll all help each other? Or is there one or two people that are like, nah, they would prefer not to help you? Is it quite a good community?
I think it's the same as any other. Same as any other community, any other forum. There are. But the good thing is the good guys outweigh the bad guys. And I think for me, it isn't actually about the games. It is actually about the people and the people you meet. And so to get off the forum and to go to a meetup, or to, in my case, fly to the States and meet some of the guys who are on the US forums. Everyone, bar a handful of people, are super nice, super helpful, really into it, understand your passion and you understand their passion, and there's a mutual respect. And I think it's very much a social thing. As if we all cast our mind back, going to the arcade and playing arcade machines was a very social thing, far more so than it is now. Than playing games is now, because you plonk your ass on the sofa and it's very much a sort of solitary exercise. You might have a headset on talking to some teenage kid in the US, on GTA 5 or whatever. But the fact that the arcade games are more of a physical thing, and you go somewhere to play them, I think that probably has the sense of camaraderie and so everybody, with a handful of exceptions, are
pretty good. Yeah.
Very helpful.
Mm-hmm. It's when I was talking about, or just one of my sort of topics on my waffle was, do you miss sitting with your mate playing a football game, side by side, pushing him when he's trying to take a penalty kick or whatever it is? And I absolutely miss that. I mean, I've got, like yourself, it's not as nice as yours, but I've got my wee games room, and I've got all these systems, all these different systems, and sometimes I buy a system because I want to have it, But I'd like to think, well, if one of my mates came over and says, "Oh, I'd love to play the BBC," oh, here you go, you can play it. But nobody ever goes up to my games room. I mean, Ava goes in to play the PlayStation 4, and that's about it. So nobody's interested in it. But it's, I sometimes actually think I enjoy talking about the hobby more than I actually do playing it. And that's what we're sitting doing here just now. I mean, if you're a suit in London, you know, and you're in board meetings and all that, and it's like, what did you get up to at the weekend? Or, oh, I was out in the golf course, and I was talking to my wee Scottish mate Alan about the ins and outs of arcade restoration. But you know, it's funny. I was thinking about the the computer club that I go to. It was a guy that he put a post in the local newspaper saying, "Does anybody want to start a retro club?" I'm like, oh, bloody hell, brilliant! I didn't realise there was any people out with like Way of the Road and actually wanted to do that kind of thing, and it's fantastic. It's once a month. We each take along a machine, and you just set them up and you just play them. Invariably, I end up talking rather than doing anything, but it's funny for these 3 hours. It's 7:30 to 10:30 on a Wednesday. For these 3 hours, I can go along and I forget all my responsibilities as an adult. I'm 18 years old again, and we're sitting debating about the ins and outs of, you know, a Spectrum loading or something. You know, it's just it's hard to really kind of explain to a non-gamer, just, you know, are you for real? You know what I mean? I mean, actually, my YouTube channel, I've got my Facebook page with my kind of friends and family. Then I've got my Mamemeister, which is my sort of my computer game side of it. Am I embarrassed about video games? I'm not embarrassed about it, but possibly there's always these arrogant people, you know, you're a grown man, for Christ's sake, playing video games. So I've always kept the YouTube thing quiet. And then lo and behold, I'd mentioned to one person at work about it, and I'd said to him, "Look, do me a favour, keep it to yourself, because it's, you know, more boring than it's worth." Then the very next day I get an email from somebody, "Oh, what's this Mamemeister?" And I'm like, how the hell does this guy know? "Oh, I've watched your channel." And then a couple of engineers on their PDAs, "Oh, Mr. Pac-Man," just taking the piss, not in a nice way. And I actually pulled my channel. I took it down. You know, I thought, I'm not having this, because I was, you know, paranoia took over as far as I was concerned. Everybody was laughing at me, and I thought, I'm not having that. So I took it down. And then quite a few people says, "Wait a minute," he says, "what you do is fantastic." He says, "People, I enjoy what you do. You should be bloody proud of it, not embarrassed about it." And I thought, you're absolutely right. So I put the channel back up. Lo and behold, I lost all my subscribers, but through the community of YouTubers, they all put like shout outs, "Get Alan his subscribers back," and it just went woof, you know, did pretty well. And then just shortly after that, I put a post on my main Facebook page saying, "Some of you may know, as well as running, I like to play 30-year-old computer games. Here's my channel if you want to go and see it." And then I was at my Christmas night out with my boss and fellow colleagues. My boss said to me, "I saw that thing that you've got about Pac-Man and Space Invaders. Oh, that's brilliant, by the way. I was watching." My wife's like, "What are you watching?" "Oh, I'm watching a guy at work. He's got this YouTube channel thing," and a few guys go, "That's brilliant." You know, it's I don't know where I was going with that. I don't even know how I got started about it. But anyway, yeah, I came out, so to speak. And I mean, do you talk about computer games at work? I mean, is there a lot of people know that you've got this hobby, that you're Missile Command World Champion, or is it something you just kind of,
Yeah, it isn't something that I tend to bring up in conversation, but most people will bring it up in conversation for me.
Yeah.
You know, when someone new at work starts, they, you know, "This is Tony. Did you know he's in the Guinness Book of World Records? Go on, Tony. Tell him."
That's that right.
For fuck's sake. But it is about this hobby is about the thrill of the chase. It's about it's about that major havoc cab that I know I'm never going to own. Christ, it'd be interesting searching for one, or finding out where one might be, and getting in the car and getting a torch and going into a knackered old storage unit to see what's there. You know, you never know what's going to turn up. So for me, I suppose the subject matter could be anything. I mean, I suppose I could be a stamp collector, and that's just the physical side of it. But actually, the thing that holds our interest is the chase. It is
The
the,
thrill of the chase. Yeah, yeah.
can I find a penny black? Will I buy a stamp album in a boot sale and find there's a penny black tucked away, there somewhere? And it's the same thing. If I buy a part off of eBay for 40 quid and I get in the car to go and pick it up and get talking to the guy, well, maybe he's got a big storage unit full of old pinball machines. He doesn't know what he's going to do with, and you're in, and there's something else. It's interesting part of the hobby is on most of the forums there's usually a section referencing eBay auctions, and someone will post, hey, if anyone's in the market for a Robotron, there's an auction going on at the moment, here's a link. And one of the great sports is, can you spot something else? So the guy's taking a photo of his Robotron cabinet.
You have to look to the side.
Down in the distance, 30 foot further into the room, there's a 1-inch top right-hand corner of a cabinet with a red stripe and a bit of blue. And it's like, look, this guy looks like he's got more cabs. Anyone know what that is? No, I don't think it is, because and then and there's your lead. So okay, I'm not interested in your Robotron, but I did notice in the background you had something else, and it's up for sale. Oh yeah, it's up for sale. I've just not put it on eBay yet. You're in, beat anyone else to it. You get in your car, you go and see the guy. There's all of that goes on. The sort of the thrill of the chase and the hunt and discovery, and there was a yesterday someone, again in the arcade community in the UK, someone posted on a UK forum that there was someone had told them that there was some abandoned cabinets in Wiltshire, which is obviously very local to me. And again, my instinct wasn't, I need to know about that because I'm going to go and get all of those cabinets and I'm going to keep it all for myself and sell it all on eBay and make a ton of money. It wasn't that at all. It was just, here's an opportunity to go on a little bit of a raid, a bit of a recce, take a torch and a bit of rope and some cardboard in the back of the car and go and find out where these abandoned cabinets are. And they were apparently they were in the back of an abandoned truck. And all he knew was that there was an Atari Super Sprint in there, and probably some other stuff as well. But that's what the hobby's about. It's like, I want to do that, not because I want everything, and there's probably nothing in there I particularly want, because I've not got space and not the information. Mm-hmm. It's probably all damp and knackered anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's really cool to go there and strip it for parts, and then go back to the forum and go, right guys, I went along, there wasn't a lot there, but this is what I rescued, and I got one of these and one of these. Who needs it, and just, save it,
Yeah.
Save all these bits and these parts that other people need. So there will be a guy somewhere who's got a Super Sprint that's got no control panel, and he's just been waiting for this opportunity to pick up an original Atari steering wheel with the Atari logo in the middle of it. So for me, it is about the people in the community, and kind of seeing other people complete their collections and get
just the actual. It's like a treasure hunt. The actual thrill of the chase and getting what you want, sort of thing. Yeah.
And then the social side of it as well. It isn't about actually playing these games. It's the interaction with other people. It's meeting other people. It's helping each other out. Oh, has anybody got? I need some cone buttons for a missile command I'm restoring. It's the last thing I need. Can anyone help? Someone will drop you a PM and say, just give me your address, mate. I've got 20 of the things here. I can send you a handful. It's that side of it.
Yeah.
And when you go to these shows, and if you go to one of these big arcades in Funspot, in the US, Funspot's a good example. And you walk in, you go, wow, there's 200 machines in this room. You don't end up playing any of it, because there'll be someone there you've not seen since last year. And then you go and have a beer and you have a chat. You end up going for a bite to eat, and then the day's over, and then I can try again tomorrow. So it's funny. It's a funny hobby. It is a funny, and it's occupied by us. It's occupied by guys of a certain age. predominantly male, you know, balding a bit. We all still wear T-shirts. We all remember the 80s, and so that's handy because most people are within a similar demographic as you. You know, they went through similar experiences in the early 80s. They rediscovered arcade games 10 years ago, and now they're into it, and they get it, and they want to discover the machines, and they want to find them and save them and restore them. And, you know, some of it's bragging rights as well, you know. Yeah, I've got a Donkey Kong cabinet, and not many other people in the UK have, and that's, yeah. I think there's a certain amount of that going on as well. But I think predominantly it's I think it's as you said earlier, it's this custodianship thing that actually, if we don't do this, no one else is going to.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we don't save these cabinets from being smashed up or destroyed or left out in a field, or if we can find them when they're in that state and strip them for parts and reuse those parts to save other cabinets, you know, that can only be a good thing.
It's funny. I think like video games as a hobby, it's an interesting hobby because in the very early days, as you say, you had your Seawolves, your really basic black and white games, and you were just wanting the next thing. Space Invaders came along. Oh, great, play Space Invaders. Galaxian came along, and then you're sort of in the same way, like obviously home systems, you had your Spectrum, and then as soon as you saw a picture of an Atari ST, you wanted that, and you weren't. I mean, people say to me now, you know, why did you get rid of your Commodore 64? I says, because I didn't want it. I says, I was wanting an Atari ST. I says, yeah, great. Fast forward 30 years and look back, well, that was bloody stupid, throwing out my entire Zap collection of magazines into the bucket. But, you know, things, technically, they were getting better and better and better, and so you weren't interested in holding on to the old things. And so that's why probably like arcade games now, they're so much difficult to actually get a hold of, because nobody wanted them. 30 years ago, if you said you want an Asteroids cab, no, I've got my PlayStation. I can play Ridge Racer on my play. I don't want to play Asteroids, you know. It's
very true. And I wrote an article on my blog a few months back about arcade conversions, and it was examples of original machines that at some point in their life had been converted to something else. So this is an original Centipede, an Atari Centipede machine, and it's all original. But back in the day, when this machine had served its purpose of, you know, a 6 month shelf life and people weren't putting money into it, an operator owned this machine because he paid $2,500 for it or whatever. Was no longer taking money. He'd made a profit on it. He'd probably earned $6,000-7,000 in plays, you know, individual coins being put in. So what's he going to do with it? No one's playing it anymore. It's a $2,500 white elephant sitting in his arcade. So what do they do? Well, you either smash it up and throw it out and buy something else and replace it, or you convert it to something else. So you'd undo the screws, turn this Centipede bezel around so it was blank.
Aye.
You open up the back door, remove the Centipede board, sling that or stick it on a shelf in a warehouse somewhere. Put 1942 in it. Obviously, it might need some adjustments and rewiring and some changes. Hook it all up, set the coins, remove this trackball, replace it with a joystick and a couple of buttons. Bingo! You know, another money-making machine. Paint it black. If there's any artwork on it, well, let's get rid of that Centipede stuff. Black paint. And so now a lot of these cabinets are turning up where you look at it and you go, okay, I can see it says Altered Beast on the marquee, but actually that was a Centipede once upon a time, and it's been painted black on the sides. And so guys will buy these machines not because it was an Altered Beast, because it's a bloody terrible game and late 80s isn't terribly collectible, but underneath that is probably a very nice Centipede.
I'm slowly fading into darkness, actually. You can hardly see me.
So they buy it because underneath there is an original Centipede. So, and then the process begins. Okay, so here I am. I've got a Centipede which has been painted black. How do I remove that black paint without damaging the lovely Centipede artwork underneath? well, what you need is a product called Citrus Strip, maybe, I'm making it up. Paint that on, don't leave it for more than 10 minutes, otherwise it will stop damaging, and then start scraping it off. And lo and behold, underneath this black paint is, wow, it's bloody
centipede, aye.
Thing come alive. And there's the satisfaction, is converting these conversions back to what they were originally.
Yeah.
What, you know, okay, I've now got the bare bones of what looks like a centipede cabinet. You know, now I'm going to work on the control panel. Let's get this joystick out. We're going to buy a new trackball, stick the trackball in, yada yada, and on it goes.
Mm-hmm. Is it? Could you ever get a sort of cab and think, I've got no idea what that was originally, or are they usually quite distinctive?
Yeah, someone on a forum will know. Just take a picture of it, stick it on
the shape of it. Yeah.
the information's out there.
Yeah. Brilliant. Listen, Tony, that's it's time is wearing on. I don't want to. I think we should maybe nick this one in the bud. I mean, I'm literally we've covered 12 questions out of the 43 that I've got here. It was in 2 parts. I mean, it was originally going to be just about your arcade blog, but I don't want to rush it because there's a ton of substance. I want to go into a lot of detail with that one, if that's okay. So perhaps we could tie up maybe next weekend, the weekend after, a couple of weekends, something like that, mate. And we can go through with that one. So listen, Tony, thank you very much for the chat. It's always a pleasure to have a chat with you.
Likewise, Al. Thanks.
It's superb, mate. So anyway, listen, mate. I'll catch up again very soon, eh?
Sounds good. Thanks, Al.
Okay. Cheers, Tony. See you, buddy.
All the best,
See you,
buddy.
mate. Bye.